Welcome to the Amazing Princess Sarah review. And go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button to be kept up to date on more of my content. And with your father kidnapped, it's up to you, as usual, to get him back. Oh, and to kill a buttload of enemies in the process. With a simple control scheme, left, right, jump, and swish your sword, swishy swish. There is another mechanic that Sarah has up her sleeve. And I don't mean just common furniture, no, although some of it does look quite chic though. Fallen enemies can be picked up and, oh yeah, thrown. And lo, with that, each enemy does actually have a different effect when thrown. Some pretty cool as with like explosions doing damage to all creatures, or even arrows spurting out of them, and some a little bit mundane where you just throw them and it hits the enemies. I have to say it's the only game I've played where the enemy is as much of a weapon for your use as your normal weapon, and I found myself using it in loads of different ways as well. Now, apart from that, I have to really say that this game is quite difficult, but I would definitely say more of a manageable difficult rather than a sort of like insane, this is impossible difficult. And yes, you will die a lot in this game, and thank goodness for those save statues that kind of like save you at key points in the actual game or levels. I'm not quite sure where I stood on the continues, because you can basically just continue after and after again and, you know, basically never go back to the beginning if you want to complete the game. I have to admit it took a little bit of something away from the game. One other point that I found pretty cool and also kind of like strange at the same time is the leveling up mechanic where basically you level up and each level gives you extra health, so in effect you are getting stronger as you go through the levels. And to this, the enemies do get more and more difficult to get past, but it kind of takes a little something away again from the gameplay. Bosses, I hear you cry? Well, yeah, there are bosses here. And I'd say, even though they're kind of basic in some of them, they look pretty cool, and some really actually cool mechanics like scaling upwards in order to get away and also attack the enemy. And also another enemy that basically bashes the ground and you fall, and just repeat this over and over until you've defeated it. Plays a lot better than what I've made it sound like though. And then you kind of like get the normal ones which are almost literally on one screen, and you know, you're doing your bit just to defeat it. They weren't offensive in general, and you know, I was entertained playing them. The game also has a map, and you can click on this, and this starts small and it generally gets bigger and bigger because there are some backtracking here and there as you have to push levers in order to unlock different areas in the actual levels. As for them levels, well, they sport a lovely pixel art style with some nice effects. It does all have that similar feel, but still feels different, with some lovely moments like sliding on ice and getting carried away on water currents. And within all of this, there is some brutal platforming to be done, with some neat and rather nasty set designing. One in particular had me repeating several times of platforms that kept on disappearing and you're going down and across, and yeah, it was pretty darn hard, and you will know it as soon as you get to it. I even kind of enjoyed the music. It was very fitting and really related well with the actual game in hand. The good. Great looking, great sounding, enjoyable gameplay. The throwing mechanic was very cool. The bad. Not going to be for everyone, I will say that now. Little short, but price reflected this. Can really be frustratingly brutal at times, and enemies can be a little samey the further in you go. And as for my score, well, I've toyed with this decision for a little bit, but I think I'm going to land on a 3 out of 5. I think it would have scored a little bit more if the enemies had been a bit more different as you go along, and the difficulties didn't spike so much here and there. But it's definitely a fun pixel art platformer with a really cool mechanic that really helps it set apart from others of the same ilk. And with that, what are your thoughts on Amazing Princess Sarah? Leave it all down in the comments, that's where they belong after all. And as for my alternative, I'm going to suggest Sunblaze. Yes, I played this quite a bit, I enjoyed it. It's another platformer with some neat mechanics of its own, and I definitely suggest picking it up after you completed Amazing Princess Sarah. And if you've made it this far, why not hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and also come and join us in our community Discord, where, well, we're just like-minded people that like to chat. So why not come along and join in, because life is better when we switch together.